Well guys, almost every day we have good news coming from the front lines, and yeah, today is not the exclusion. So Ukraine gained some territories near Shevchenka. Yeah, by the way, it's the Pokrovsk direction. The Pokrovsk town is located over here. And Ukraine was capable to liberate this area well before even 1 week ago. As far as I remember, Ukraine went on counterattack towards Shevchenka and partially took the settlement. I would say that the most part of it is under Ukrainian control. And yesterday there was one more successful Ukrainian strike and Russians were forced to leave this area. So potentially now Ukraine has 2 of the attack vectors, one straight to Shevchenka village and the other one could be from this side. Yeah, why difficult terrain, but with infantry forces it is possible. Well, if we check out a more conservative map from the Institute for the Study of War, they show this picture. Yeah, you may see that Shevchenka here, they show, is under the Russian control almost fully, but it's not true, my friends, because we have the confirmation from the drone videos that definitely Ukraine has expanded at least the gray zone towards this area. And yeah, today it was the successful Ukrainian attack from this side, and Ukraine might send some of the reinforcements through this valley to bypass Shevchenka from the southeast. And the good thing that Ukraine still has 2 of those attack vectors further away from Shevchenka settlement. Shevchenka is the biggest one in this line, but Dachinske and Peshane, they also play the great role because there are some of the roads here, for example, and in Dachinske, so they're interconnected with Shevchenka. And here the road also goes to Shevchenka and then to the south. So yeah, it's the big network of the roads, which are now, I would say, not that critical if the weather becomes good. And it becomes good because it's the springtime and the sun shines already bright. The soil becomes sturdy even for usual vehicles to operate. You don't need to have tanks or BMPs deployed in this place. You don't need to have the paved roads to operate. But again, then there is a rain, it's not possible, yeah. And if you check out the wider picture, so here's Pokrovsk, here's the Ukrainian assault from this side and from Kotlin as well. Those are the most fresh attacks of Ukrainian army. And the rest, you may say, they colored in green already, so they happened more than 2 weeks ago. So yeah, maybe it's the good strategy from Ukrainian army to attack the Russian one with those small bites. Hopefully it will be done not just in Pokrovsk direction, but all across the front lines. Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. Let's go. But as usual we have also some of the bad news. In those good news, the Ukrainian army has losses. Then you go on offensive operation, you usually lose more. There Ukraine went on attack using a single Max Pro MRAV vehicle, which was unfortunately hit by the Russian FPV drone. The drone went to the engine compartment. From what I understood, most of the crew and infantry on board evacuated the vehicle and later on Russians finished it. Yeah, unfortunately there is no magic, worries about losses as well, but luckily Ukraine is not attacking with those big convoys, just a single vehicle was lost in this single small attack. But definitely here Ukraine propelled forward, expanding the gray area and also, yeah, taking control over those 3 lines with part of the road. At the same time, Ukraine is very efficient with FPV, so here Ukraine captured 3 of the Russian soldiers with the help of the FPV drones. We have the geolocation, video and confirmation. Plus in this area Ukraine is using infantry forces and also artillery near Lysivka. So if there are artillery preparations geo-confirmed, maybe Ukraine will go further on attack in this area towards Lysivka. It could be interesting to see. And yes, the main Russian supply center in Davydov is under the constant strike, so aviation strikes by Ukrainian Air Force and Ukrainian artillery is also capable to reach this settlement. But if you go from this area a little to the east, you'll see how Russia has huge losses. So here they lost tanks, BMPs, and here as well. They tried to fire artillery, but so far they're not moving in this particular place. Here they lost the huge convoy, as you may see. We have this confirmation with the Russian vehicles presented, so Russia definitely has severe losses, way more compared to Ukraine, if you check in general on the front lines. And yes, according to the fresh data coming, it was one more big Russian convoy attack, and Russia has tremendous losses out there. Ukraine used the FPV drones to stop the Russian vehicles, so definitely it's no go for the Russian army. At least 5 of the vehicles, from what I understood, were captured on the way. And still I'm waiting for more data whether Russian vehicles made it through, like at least some of them, or they turned back. My friends, before we go to the other good news, actually, I want to thank you for your kind support on my Patreon page, because you know, sometimes I have some of the issues with monetization on YouTube. The content that I provide is kind of fragile nowadays, you know, not every platform likes that. That's why thank you so much for supporting me. You know, you motivate me, you make me running and publishing and filming those videos. You are just great. So guys, if you want to support me on Patreon, the link for my page is just in the video description below. Thank you again very, very much. And now let's continue. Okay, from the Pokrovsk direction, let's go to Dnipro Energia village. So as I told you yesterday, according to my data, Ukraine was capable to liberate this village because Russia absolutely failed with their big convoy attack. So it was yesterday and it is today. Yeah, the small territorial gain, but nevertheless, Ukraine liberated this single or maybe two street village, which is the absolutely awesome result, judging on what Russian intentions were at first. They wanted to get to Sela and further with their convoy, but as the result of the Russians' poor planning, Ukraine got the advantage in repelling the Russian attack, plus more territories, one village. It is good. About the Toretsk direction, well, we have different information coming. Ukraine loses some of the supplies on the way, but at the same time, Ukraine strikes the Russian army a lot in the settlement itself, plus causing losses for the Russian sabotage groups, which they try to deploy in those villages which were liberated, I guess, by the Azov battalion or maybe by the 3rd Assault Brigade. I actually don't remember. Well, here it is interesting that Russians tried to advance from Druzhba over here. They caused some of the losses for Ukrainian side, but at the same time they lost more of the vehicles, and we have the confirmation about it. So yeah, again FPV drone against the Russian tank, and this is the geolocation which was confirmed. And Ukraine even used M113 vehicle and T-64 tank. Well, unfortunately Ukraine lost this tank. The tank was abandoned and then destroyed by the Vandal drone. Well, luckily crew left the tank before it was hit by the drone. So yeah, the intensity on the battlefields, from what I see, intensified gradually. And yes, we do not steal this information because Michael73 always write like that. You might find his Twitter link right in the video description below, and there he shares the recent information about what is happening on the front lines. And there you may also find the link for his map, and I review it a lot because as usual his reports are valid because they are based on facts, mostly from the drone images. And you know, I check out many of the sources, many of the analytics and experts, so some of them say that Ukraine start one more offensive in Toretsk direction, towards the central part of the Toretsk town, and Ukraine used some of the artillery or even aviation bombs. This information is still fresh, so for me it is hard to confirm what was kaboomed there and with what that strike was conducted. But anyways, the strike is good for Ukraine, and I just wonder if Ukraine is going to use the ground forces out there, deploying them straight to the central part, because it could be risky in a way, fighting in this urban environment. And that is how the Toretsk town looks nowadays. It is totally destroyed. Similar to what Russians did to Bakhmut, so absolutely no single building which survived. Even the small households, they're just ruined. That's the real Russian peace, my friends. That is what they're bringing with them. Alright, some of the Ukrainian drones were spotted yesterday really far away from the Ukrainian border in Shuya settlement. Shuya settlement is famous for its rocket unit, which is equipped with Iskander ballistic missile systems. Yes, those specific ballistic missiles which Russia used on Sumy to hit civilian infrastructure. So here, Ukraine decided to conduct a revenge on the Russian military facility. And yeah, as you can see, the revenge actually was successful. Those Russians who operated their Iskanders were in the barracks by the time, and yeah, they sustained some of the losses. I cannot show you the full video here, but anyways, I'm gonna share it on my Telegram and probably on Rumble as well. And this video was also filmed in Shuya, and I know this aircraft type. This is freaking Antonov 2, so you can see landing gears here, there's the fuselage, empennage over here, and double wing construction biplane. And yeah, horizontal stabilizer is somewhere here. So what it was doing there, randomly flying, or maybe Ukraine converted Antonov 2 to drone airplanes. They're able to carry really a big load compared to smaller drones, obviously. It was also spotted flying at the low altitude at that exact location by the time of the strike. Chinese actually did it before they converted Antonov 2 into agricultural drone, so it is not impossible to do it. And here is the Shuya settlement, just for you to understand where the strike happened. This is the capital city of Kiev, capital city of Russia, Moscow, and it's pretty much not far away from Moscow. I guess not more than 130-150 miles. And that's how the Shuya military base looks like on satellite images. Again, I have some of the close proximity images, but I cannot show you them here, unfortunately. I still try to avoid restrictions. But also something happened to the Kursk bearing plant production facility. It just got fire. And again, we have the information about Ukrainian drone strikes. Kursk is not that far away from Ukraine. Judging on the scale of this kaboom, the facility is absolutely no-go, and for Russia it is very crucial. You know, bearing production is elsewhere, especially in military, and it's very unique production, which is quite limited. And those strikes actually help Ukraine a lot. Now Russia has to search for where to obtain their bearings. In China? Maybe. But it is a new load on the Russian budget, and they cannot replace the production of those bearings because the Western-made equipment was used in this facility.
Вот полная машина. Там дальше машины стоят.
Russians arrived from the Kursk Oblast to Bashkortostan. Yeah, they're usually coming back in those boxes. The cameraman is surprised because the vehicles are fully loaded. And I just wonder who is there in this VIP vehicle. Alright, we have a new development with the story of the Russian general Ivan Popov, who is a really talented one and was able to stop a Ukrainian counteroffensive back in 2023. Well, he is now in the Russian prison, detained, arrested, and 2 weeks ago there was the information that he signed again the contract with the Russian army and he will be the commander of the Russian Storm Z battalion, which consists mostly of the Russian ex-prisoners. But after all, the Russian court decided not to let this guy out, so he will stay in the prison, which is actually good news for us. I think that Putin is just scared because he said the things as they are in the Russian army about the poor supplies, poor command, incompetence of the Russian leadership, and Popov at some point started to support Prigozhin, and he's the commander of the Russian paratroopers, the most capable forces out there in the Russian army. So Putin was definitely scared of this guy, and he continued to be scared. That's why Popov is out there in the prison. As well, by the way, as Strelkov. Yeah, Strelkov is not some sort of the general or big commander, no, but he was a really big influencer online, and he organized in a way resistance against Russian leadership too. But Popov and Strelkov, they're both crazy Russian imperialists, so they support that idea, and they just blame the Russian regime for the losses, for incompetence. So yeah, they're not our friends, but they may try to ruin the construction of Russia. That's why they're jailed, and partially it was idea of Prigozhin too. He was our enemy, but he was up to start something big in Russia, but he decided to turn away from Moscow. It was his big mistake. About the Russian military support, they obtained almost 60% of all of the munition, artillery munition, from North Korea, and North Korea for the last year earned 20 billion United States dollars from Russia, well, equivalent of that money. Plus, Russia incorporates into technology sector of the North Korean military. That's why we see the boost in the production of the North Korean Lancet drones. Russia also shares their aviation technologies and even units with North Korean Air Force. They have a very strong and deep cooperation compared to what Ukraine has with its allies. Yeah, I know that you are probably tired of Trump, but nevertheless we have to speak about him because he is influencing a lot, and unfortunately not in a good way. Bild shares an article that Donald Trump refuses the deal with Ukraine to supply Patriot systems even for Ukrainian funds, so he avoids $50 billion to be invested into the American production. It means more jobs could be created and Ukraine finally could be protected, but no, Trump doesn't care. So when Trump says about the load on American budget, about taxpayers' money, don't believe him. It is just an excuse not to provide enough support and enough protection, in this case for Ukraine, because Patriots, as Zelensky says, is not an offensive weapon. It is used for defense only, and Ukraine absolutely needs defense. But the orange idiot, he doesn't really care. Actually, Bild source doesn't tell anything new about Trump. He said himself yesterday that he is not interested in giving Ukraine missiles. And those are the interesting news. The Economist reports that Pentagon officials have reached out and unspecified allied states, telling them to put an end to their continued arms supplies to Ukraine. The allied state rejected the request. Some Trump's aides are reportedly fed up with Europe's Ukraine support. That's actually crazy. So not only Donald Trump doesn't want to support Ukraine himself, but he calls others to stop it. And yes, still there is some weaponry coming from the previous packages agreed by Joe Biden, but Trump might stop it at any moment. And we are not even speaking about the new military packages for Ukraine. Trump wants Ukraine to just surrender to Russia. The idea for Trump is to make Russia win in Ukraine, for this war to be ended. Like in any case, like Russia wins, it's okay. It's okay for Donald Trump, he doesn't care. He doesn't understand that there are different states, so they have their own sovereignty and they'll fight for their own sovereignty, and he doesn't know the origin of the war and why the United States of America absolutely should support Ukraine, because it was the country that forced Ukraine to give up its nukes. Russia under Yeltsin wasn't really pushing Ukraine that hard for this Budapest memorandum and to give up nukes, but United States was the main power in that negotiation. So as an exchange for that, Ukraine obtained absolutely nothing, like no security guarantees at all. Unfortunately, guys, as you may see, the world is damn cruel. So if someone tells you give up nukes, give up weaponry, never do it. And more countries will now try to obtain nukes, which will increase instability in the world. So yeah, that's the reaction on Donald Trump and his friendship with dictator Putin and others. Well, luckily, after all, this allied state rejected the request. I guess it was United Kingdom. Oh, we have some news about Boeing. So China orders Boeing jet delivery halt as trade war expands. China cancels, actually, or freezes Boeing orders for its airlines. I wonder if that restriction might touch the existing contracts and deliveries of the airplanes produced, because that will harm Boeing a lot. And China, after all, is one of the biggest markets out there for Boeing. And Boeing is not about the army only. It is also about commercial, so the vast part of the company operates in that sector, in civilian one. And the Boeing reputation loss with 737 MAX affected the entire company. It lost billions and billions of dollars. And now there is the risk for one of the main customers just to abandon their market, abandon signing the new contracts with Boeing. So probably Chinese airlines will switch to Airbus. Because after all, right now China is still unable to produce compatible airplane to Airbus or Boeing. Yeah, they have their own production, but it's very limited. But you know what? Russia wants to buy the Boeing jets from the United States of America using frozen assets in the United States. Kind of the interesting move, and maybe even Donald Trump would like it. You know, we have the trade war with China, but Russia is here to save us. Trump still thinks that he might take Russia away from the Chinese influence. Here it is not possible, but he thinks like that. So after all, he might agree on this Boeing deal with Russia. Moreover, probably United States will finally lift the sanctions from the Russian Aeroflot company. Now the biggest Russian carrier has to ground its airplanes, like lots of them, because those continue to lose their airworthiness without the proper maintenance. The air transport is very critical for the Russian economy to operate, because the country, Russia, is the biggest one out there, but they do not have the good road infrastructure and just few of the railroads to connect the country. So Russia is really dependent on aviation transport, which is not feeling great nowadays. But Donald Trump might try to help. He always supports dictators because he wants to be dictator himself. Alright, my friends, and now please don't forget to press your huge like to this video, because you help me to reach the wider audience if you press this thumb up under the video. Usually 10–12% pressing the like button, but please everyone do it. And as usual, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.
Might be a better word. But where do you think it failed, and where do you think, like, what lessons have you learned that you know you're not going to be making on Starship? To like do a mission, you're just trying to get data out of the thing.
Yeah.